Okay, well, it is 4 after 3, so I don't want to waste any more of our time. We could have somebody else join us here as we're getting started, but I'm going to go ahead and dive in so that I can show you how to get started with Kidblog. Keep in mind that this is kind of just an intro, just the basics of what Kidblog is, what you could do with it, kind of how to get your own account set up, and how to get started with your students. But certainly, you would probably want some more information and maybe some help, or even to have me present the first day you did something like this with your students. Be really happy to do that with you. Or you can come down on your prep and talk to me, and we can help get things set up and show you your way around. So this is kind of just a quick 25-minute or so introduction, and feel free to type in questions as you think of them along the way. Every once in a while I'll take a breath and check what you may have typed into that chat window, and we'll see how we're going from there. Kenna, since this is your first time joining us for a live opportunity session, I just wanted to quickly go through, I kind of said some of this already, but that you're in listen-only mode. You can type questions. If you want your mic enabled, there's a little raise hand icon at the top of the screen, and you can click that, and it'll kind of be assigned to me that you would like to be able to speak, and then I'll walk you through that. I also wanted to remind you that this is being recorded, which means that you can go back and watch it again at another time. So don't feel like you have to take notes like mad or remember every single thing I say. You can always access this again in the future and watch it again if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. Just a second to switch that over. Okay, so now you should be seeing my Chrome screen, and you can see that I'm on the main page of Kidblog. You'll find this at kidblog.org. It is .org, not .com. So just keep that in mind, although you can probably get to it either way. But the main website is .org. Okay, so I'm going to start with just talking about, what is Kidblog and why do you care about it? Why would you possibly want to consider using it? So basically, it is a safe blogging environment for students. They say from grades K through 12. Having looked at this a little bit, I think it's a great platform for grades all the way through 12. I would probably keep it at elementary level just because it's called Kidblog. And having taught junior high in the past, I can tell you they would be horribly offended if you put them on Kidblog. So just for your educator friends, or if you suddenly take a shift to a higher grade level, I would recommend EduBlog for middle school and high school students. But for elementary levels, definitely Kidblog is a really easy and wonderful choice. In terms of the reasons why you might want to start your kids blogging, the obvious one is that it gets them writing, and anytime we can get kids writing, the better. The more practice they have with that, the better, as I'm sure you agree. But another great thing is that it gives them an authentic audience. You get to control, the safe part is that you get to control what and when things are out public on the web. But students see a lot of purpose to their writing if they know that what they're writing is being published to the web, and that they have an authentic audience. They can communicate with you, their parents can comment on this, but they're publishing to the web, and that's pretty big stuff for kids, and so it's a really good thing. Also a great opportunity to teach digital citizenship, to teach students what's right and wrong in terms of what you're putting out there on the web. So if a student, typed a blog entry and, they gave all these personal details about themselves, one, you'd be able to catch that before it really was out live on the web. And two, that's a teachable moment for you to say, hey, it's really not a good idea to share your home address or your phone number out on the web where anybody can see it. So good way to teach digital citizenship. Okay, so some ideas for how to use it. I'm just going to scroll down here because they've got some great things listed here in terms of you might want to think about your purpose that you would want to focus with in terms of starting to use this in your class. Just simple creative writing, having them post their writing to their blog, You could do things like book shares or book clubs. If you're reading a specific book, you could have them blog after each chapter or blog in response to a prompt that goes along with what you're discussing in class. You're not teaching math right now, but math problem solving, definitely you can have them work a problem and then explain how they worked their problem. That's a good skill for them for testing. So you could do a math journal. Science notebooks. You can expand it beyond, you can make it public, and so you could have them connect with other students. I don't know a lot about how we would go about doing this, but certainly I could help figure that out and help get you set up to connect with another class and have pen pals if that's something you're interested in. And then certainly a digital portfolio. Students could publish pictures of their work and of any type of work, whether it's video or writing or art or whatever they're doing, could be published into a portfolio here. So those are just some ideas of how you could use blogs to really get students involved in writing. Okay, so there's kind of the overview. The other thing you're probably wanting to know is whether or not it's free, and the answer is yes and no, as is usually the case. There is a free version of Kidblog, which I am fairly certain would completely meet your needs. There is a premium paid version that costs $36 per teacher per year, and that is going to give you just an expansion of what you're going to have with the free version as usual. Free version, you can have any number of classes, but your classes are limited to 40 students. I don't think that's going to be a problem for you, so you could set up a morning group, morning class, afternoon class. As long as you have less than 40, I certainly hope in each of those groups you're in good shape. Or if you have less than 40 total, you could set up one class that has your students from both groups in it. But if you want more than 40 students in a class, you would have to go up to the premium version. It also allows a few additional features, like for students to be able to select their backgrounds, images, and themes. They can do that with the premium version. You can be part of a bigger organization where we can kind of connect and you can share classroom responsibilities with another teacher. Those are all the types of features with premium. Also, Google Drive integration. If you don't have the premium version, then it's a little more cumbersome to connect with something from Google Drive, but it can still be done. They just make it a lot easier if you have the premium version. Okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So right here for teachers, you're going to click on Sign Up for Free. One of the things that I love about our transition to Gmail and starting to really use Google Drive is that it does integrate so nicely with so many things. So you have two choices for setting up your account. You can sign up with Google, which means you're just a couple clicks away from being in, or you can actually type in your name, give yourself a password, and include your email. Both are very easy ways of getting signed up. So I'm just going to click on Sign Up with Google. And just like that, it took me in. Now, I've been in before, so the first time I clicked on that, I did have to type in my Google password. I also had email address and password, actually. I also had to grant access. I had to say that I allowed it to connect to my Google account. Okay? But as soon as you do that, it's asking you to set up your first class. Okay, so you're going to set that up. And I'm just going to call this opportunity class, and give it a description if you want, but that's optional. And then we click Create Class. So you can see now that I have 3 classes set up, and this is the one that I just set up. If I click on that, it's going to take you to what the blog looks like so far. Obviously, there's not really any members listed or anything like that. If I go back to my dashboard here, let me go into this class that I set up earlier, because you can see that I set up a post that says what is blogging. You can also see that I've got some members already in this class as well. Okay, so right there, that's all it is to setting up a class. If you want to set up another one in the future, back here on your dashboard screen, there's just this Create New Class button, and you can just keep doing that as many times as you need to. Okay, So let me go back into our new class that we've set up. Right here is an area you want to go to right away probably, which is Settings. And here I can change the avatar. So if I don't want this, logo, this Kidblog logo to show up, I can click on this, and then I can go to my computer, wherever I might have it stored, and choose a new picture that I want to have show up there to represent my class. Right there I clicked on Google Drive, and it's reminding me that I have to be a premium user in order to connect to my Google Drive. But I could get a picture off of my computer. If I find something on the web, I can get the URL of it and use it here, but all those different things to put in a little avatar for your class if you want. So I can change all these things. Here's the address of my class, but I'm going to show you in a minute, when you have students go to join and be part of this, you really can just send them to kidblog.org, and we're going to set it up so that you can give them a code that will let them get in from there. So you don't have to give them this whole address. Okay. If I go over here to themes, I was just in the general area. There are quite a few cute little themes that you can choose from to set up for your class. This is very Mrs. Porter right here, so I'm going to pick that one. And then if I go back, I can click this to go to my actual blog, and you can see what it looks like there. It's pretty much got that background there, so it's kind of cool. And I click back on here, users. This is a very important area in terms of getting started then with your students. So when I go here, here's my email address and all of these things that I can do. But I'm going to go here where it says registration codes. You can also go to create students and start putting them in this way, but that's going to be pretty cumbersome. There's a bulk upload, but again, you're jumping through a bunch of hoops. I think the easiest way to tell you to get your students in is to go here and allow a registration code. So I'm going to click on this, and there's two different ones. You can create a code for students and create a code for guests if you wanted to create a guest one. But for students here, I'm going to click on enable, and it just gives me this code number here. I'm going to just make a note of that. I'm actually going to copy it to my clipboard here. You can change the code, but you can't put in whatever numbers you want. If I click change code, it's just going to give me a new one. But I don't have any control over what that is, unfortunately. So you can't set it to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be a random code like that. Okay. So now that I've enabled that student code, I'm really ready to get my students started. So I'm going to switch over to a different browser so that I can show you how that's going to work. So let me go over here to Firefox, and I'm just going to go to the main page, kidblog.org. Okay, so just to recap, you as the teacher, you have set up the class and you have enabled the registration code, and you have made a note of what that code is. So now you're going to send the students to kidblog.org. And I have a feeling this will show up on the Symbaloo at some point in the future. It's not there quite yet, but as we get more and more teachers interested in using something like this, it'll probably show up on our Symbaloo. But for now, kidblog.org is where you're going to send. You don't have to put the /home part. Just send them to kidblog.org. And then right here, you've got students, teachers, parents. Students just need to enter that code in that box. They just click on that where it says enter code, and then they'll have to type that in. So you'll put it up on your board, and they'll type that in and click join. Okay, so here's then the students. They're going to create their account here. But again, once we've enabled students to have their Google accounts, which we are kind of in the process of doing, we have it in some different areas. Don't think Rosedale 4th grade has Google accounts yet. So as of right now, we either need to get your Google account set up right away if you want to go that route, or you can just have the students put in their name and create their own password. They don't have to include an email address, that's optional, and then they just click sign up. Now because they put in that code, it's going to automatically enroll them in your class, and it's that simple. So then they're able to click on that class, they're able to see what you have going on. Okay, so let me switch back to Chrome here. This is my teacher account. I know this is confusing because it looks very similar, but I've got the teacher side on Chrome and the student side on Firefox so that you can see both sides of it. So if I come back here and I refresh my screen, second, you can see that I have a student now. Bob Smith is listed there. And you could have them, if you want to be super cautious in terms of digital citizenship, you may have the students only enter their first names or their first names, last initials, something like that, rather than their full name. That would be a good way to kind of teach them digital citizenship and just make them aware of safety on the internet. Would be a good way to do that. Okay, so you can see that we've done that. Okay, so now how do we post something? So right up here, there's this Welcome to Kidblog that automatically gets posted to your blog as soon as you create it. But right up here, there's this blue button that says New Post. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to give this post a title like, Are you excited about blogging? Something like that. And then I'm just going to give my students a prompt here. Have you ever blogged before? Why or why not? You know, typical stuff. Okay, so you can see here that I can change things like the size of my font. I've got different colors. Kids love this stuff. You know, you can use bullets. You've got all these basic editing tools. They can even put in a link if you want. Again, if I click on this to attach anything from Google Drive, it's not going to work at this point unless you go up to the premium version. But since your students probably aren't using Drive yet anyway, that's probably not a concern right now. Down the road a little bit, that might be a feature that you want to take advantage of. If I click on Upload, I can attach things, files, documents, pictures to this blog post. It gives you the option here to do some changes. You don't have a lot of options with the basic membership. Premium gets you some more color choices if you like that. You can come in here and choose different textures and backgrounds. You can change the font. You've just got a few options here. In terms of tags, I get this question a lot. A tag is basically a keyword. If you were out on the web and you were trying to find this blog entry, what keywords would you type in that you would search for to find it? So in this case, I guess just blogging. But it's just simple keywords separated by commas, and then you can click plus. And that's just if you wanted people to be able, out on the web, to be able to find this blog. So when you're done typing, you can add a picture here, a header image too if you want. Again, just something off of your computer. And then we're going to click Publish. Now when we do that, and this is what your students will see when they publish their blog entries as well, they need to choose their audience. Your students can make it just for you. If they want to set a blog entry or set a post and they only want it to be visible to you, then they can set it just to the teacher. Classmates is going to be everyone in the class. Connections, honestly, I don't know a lot about this right now. I think this has to do with how you can connect with the pen pals. You can connect to different classrooms someplace in the world that are using Kidblog. You can connect them together with this connections feature, and then when students post, they can post either just to their class or they can post to another class that they are connected to. I believe that's how it's worked. Honestly, I haven't had the chance to dig that deep into this yet, but I'll be happy to figure that out along with you if you want. And then there's the option of making it publicly available on the web. Now, I'm going to click Public first because I want to show you something. If I click Publish, oh, it is okay because I'm in the teacher view. I need to show you something back in settings as well. As a teacher, I can do that. I can make it publicly available on the web. So it's out there. This is what it looks like now. And you can see that students can have a place to post their comments. So if I go back to the student view, and I'm going to need to refresh my screen. Okay, so now I can see that my teacher has posted, "Are you excited about blogging?" And I can click on this and I can post my comments as Bob Smith here. So I can post my comments and they'll show up underneath there. If I go back to the teacher view now, I'll refresh my screen. Okay, so now you see that I see that I have one comment and I have these options down here as the teacher. I can edit it, I can remove it, I can reply to it, or I can approve it. Now the way I have the settings right now, when students publish, it's not automatically going out to the web immediately. This gives you as the teacher a chance to preview what they've written before it's out there on the web. That's the safety feature behind something like Kidblog. So I can approve that, and that would make it instantly available to others on the web as well. I'm going to show you, I'll go ahead and approve that comment. And once I do that, I can unapprove it as well. But let me go back here to our opportunity class and go back to settings so I can show you some more features. We were in the users area earlier. We'll move on here to privacy. Here's those options that we saw again. See how public is turned off? If I turn that on, if I have that turned off, then it's not going to have the student comments visible to the public web at all. If I turn it on, I can still have this approval required box checked, and that still means that I have to approve those comments before they're actually visible outside of our classroom, outside of our own logins. So that's just a good safety feature for you to have, and it kind of explains that a little bit down here as well. Okay, you can also decide who is going to be able to comment on students' published posts. So if Bob just posted a comment, I can make it so that the public can comment on his posts, or I can keep it so that he can post, but others outside of our little school community here cannot comment on that. So that's a good option. Again, another safety feature as well. And all these things are kind of described here in these little tips as you're moving along there. Just to move on, you can create different categories for your posts. So if you wanted to have different ways that you're using this, maybe you've got one class set up for your morning group, one for your afternoon group, but within that you also want them to post on different things, like you're having them post on stories that you're reading, or have a category for achieve articles, or things I did this weekend. I don't know. You could create all these different categories that you can have the students categorize their posts, and that just makes it easier to find things and search for what you're looking for as well. Here's the connections area. Again, we need to do a little bit further digging into this. This is kind of a little more advanced use of it, but if you're interested in that, I'll certainly figure it out and help you figure it out as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to opportunity class so you can see what we've got there, and you can always see here, like this one is only for the teacher, so it's only showing for me. Here it's showing for the public. You can see that there is one comment there as well. Okay, I'm going to take a breath here. I see that you have posted, I've been kind of seeing that those things you've popped in there, that you were with me, believe it or not, because I was talking pretty fast. And that you love that you can preview it. And yeah, that's a really great feature that it offers, just to help make sure that you've got some good things going out there before they're live. I did want to show you this too. This is Mrs. Mira's class. This is just a sample Kidblog class that I found out there. And I thought it would just kind of give you some ideas. I'm not sure what grade level we have here, but I loved this one. Number stories. And I know, Kenny, you're not teaching math, but this is just a great way that it could be used. So you can see that this boy here has typed, this like number story right back soon with the answer. So here's his teacher writing back to Mason, and giving him an answer, and then he's responding back to her, and then there's a guest that has commented in here as well. So just really great. Here's another couple of different entries that people have posted there. So just really great way to get kids communicating and sharing their thoughts and really giving them a voice out there in the world. That would also teach them how to be responsible with that, because they are growing up in a world where this is going to always be a part of their life. So really great thing to not only get them writing, but learning that digital citizenship as well. Do you have any questions, Kenna, that or any other things that you want me to go through and show you? Do journals, and I think this would be yes. Yes, exactly. And of course, you know, I've always been a huge advocate of student choice. And so, you know, maybe especially in the beginning, giving students the option to do a paper journal or an online journal. And if they want to do the Kidblog for their online journal, they can do that. Of course, it's easier to manage if you have them all doing the same thing. So that's kind of a personal teacher preference. But you know, some students might be nervous about that at first, and then later on they'll be really excited about being able to do that. But I think most of our kids are really at a place where they want to have that global voice. So I think they would really love that too. So I will be in your building on Wednesday, and if you need help walking through any of the setup stuff or getting started, or if there's a certain day that you want to launch this with your class and you'd like me to be there just kind of in the background and running around answering questions, and just in case any technical glitches pop up or anything like that, I would be absolutely happy to do that. We'll just need to communicate and get that scheduled. But it might be a fun thing for you to try here in these last few weeks of school, so that you can decide if this is something you want to do from the very beginning, heading into next year. Some of these other ones. Okay, so I see. Sorry, I muted my mic there because my phone's ringing. You don't really have a lot of questions yet, but you wanted to see more, but maybe we could try it. Okay, good. Yeah, just give me a holler if you need any support in getting that started, or if you think of any questions later on. I did pop back here to the student view. Let me go back to the main class. I just wanted to show you that from the student side, it's exactly the same as it was for you. The students can create a new post, and then people can comment on that post, and it all works exactly the same as it did for you. So I just wanted to make sure I made that clear, that you're not the only one who can create a post. The students can do that as well, and obviously that's where the power in it lies, that they can create those posts. So. Okay, well, Kenna, thank you for joining. I hope that was beneficial to you, and I'll be sending out the recording of this by email probably tomorrow, so you can hang on to that if you need to see any of this again, and we can just go from there. So thanks for joining, and I'll just stay signed on in case you think of any other questions until I see you disappear. So have a great evening.